In 1984, there were thought police to enforce Crime Stop and arrested and abused thought criminals. Thought criminals are people who had thoughts, actions, or words against Big Brother. People who committed thought crime were the most gifted of the proletariat who might possibly become a nuclei of discontent are simply marched down by the thought police and eliminated. My topic is police brutality. So, what is police brutality? According to thelawdictionary.org, police brutality is the use of excessive and/or unnecessary force by police when dealing with civilians. Today's police don't necessarily act like thought police, but some abusive things that some police do today can relate to some things the thought police did in the book 1984, but not all police committed these actions. Some causes of police brutality could be racism of the police or wrong-headed officer training. An example of wrong-headed officer training was when college students at UC Berkeley and UC Davis were protesting. The administration's reaction to protesting was to bring out campus police with batons and pepper spray as weapons to defend themselves against nonviolent protesters. According to TheAtlantic.com, the UC police officers were dressed in riot gear. They're given guns, batons, body armor, face shields, and spray canisters of pepper spray, and they're sent out in force. The campus police were sent out in force to go face non-violent protesting students. The officers just using these weapons without reason on the non-violent protesters clarifies that there is not much of a protocol of when to use these weapons and what to do if violence does occur and how to stop it in the most non-violent way they can, therefore clarifying that there is something off in their training. In 1984, an example of the thought police over-abusing their power is when they caught Winston and Julia in Mr. Charrington's shop, and when they abused them way more than they needed to. In this scene where the thought police had caught them, Winston thought in his mind, one thing alone mattered: to keep still. To keep still and not give them an excuse to hit you. But in the end, it still didn't matter how still he kept. He received a violent kick on the ankle, which nearly flung him off his balance. The police in reality, in this case, kind of relate to the thought police in 1984, because in reality, they hurt the non-violent protesters, even though they didn't do anything wrong. And the thought police in 1984 hurt Winston, even though he tried to stay as still as he possibly could to avoid punishment. An example of racism being the cause of police brutality is the Ferguson case. According to WashingtonPost.com, the Ferguson case was a relatively minor incident: a traffic stop, a burglary, a disturbance. Police arrive and tensions escalate. It ends with an unarmed black man shot dead. There are many cases like these where a person of color has been shot dead by a white police officer for no good legitimate reason. WashingtonPost.com has also stated that black men were accounted for 40% of the 60 unarmed deaths, even though they make up just 6% of the U.S. population. The Post's analysis shows that black men were 7 times more likely than white men to die by police gunfire while unarmed. The militarization of police has also become a problem because officials are starting to train police to act like military men, making police become more aggressive. According to Vanity Fair, the war on terror revived police militarization with a righteous vengeance. Police militarization is a big problem because the HuffingtonPost.com claims the military's job is to annihilate a foreign enemy. Cops are charged with keeping the peace and with protecting the constitutional rights of American citizens and residents. It's dangerous to conflate the two. Not only will that create more violence, it will also make the people assume and discriminate against Islamic or Muslim people. Hate crimes have also occurred due to the discrimination. According to the New York Times, hate crimes against American Muslims have soared to their highest level since the aftermath of the September 11, 2001 attacks, according to data compiled by researchers. So, how do we prevent police brutality and police militarization? We as a nation must use our rights and our amendments that our founding fathers gave us. We have to use our voice and protest for what we think is right and for what we believe is right. We need to be aware of the world around us by reading news articles and listening to it on the radio. We also need to be aware by being able to form our own opinions and to have our own opinions that are not based off of other people's opinions or bias. Another thing we need to do to prevent police brutality is to record the police and catch them in the act if they do decide to abuse us of our rights, and to hold them accountable if they do decide to violate our rights as American citizens. In the end, we should all put more diversity in police departments and in all jobs so we can all understand each other and learn from each other's cultures and hardships and just be more diverse.